Imagine the world 200 plus years ago. Ignorant and illiterate peasants lived in dilapidated huts that also served as habitats for mice, owls, bats and other vermin. In the forests and mountains of Transylvania and the Balkans, the inhabitants of isolated villages and towns listened to the howling of wolves at night and spent their days searching for a piece of food. Many were on the brink of starvation and death from malnutrition. Then as today, people have interpreted events based on what they saw. While today we have a microscope and telescope, our ancestors used only thing they could use: their naked eyes. Malnutrition and poor hygiene were the basis for the easy development of all diseases, especially viral infections, colds, flu, pneumonia. At that time, sudden pallor of the skin was interpreted as a lack of blood in the body, and not as inflammatory processes. To ancient people it looked as if someone had sucked all the blood of the victim. And then due to illness and poor nutrition, scurvy would appear. The wounds on the body were interpreted as bites through which the victim's blood was apparently sucked. Tooth loss and changes in the physiognomy of the body have been described as a transformation into a servant of the terrible demon. Vampire. The vampire was invisible because ancient people could not realize the droplet spread of viral diseases in any other way, but assumed that it happened at night by some supernatural entity. In the evening, seemingly healthy people would wake up in the morning bitten with symptoms of scurvy, cold, flu, pneumonia. Due to scurvy and how the infection was spreading at high speed from house to house and from village to village, they assumed that the invisible demon, vampire, must change its appearance into an animal with sharp teeth and high speeds of movement. Suspicion fell on the bats that had lived in the attic of each house. The bitten infected became vampire's servant who could turn other people into vampires. Infected can infect others. As the common cold/flu/pneumonia has existed since humans exist. Legend of the immortality of the vampire was created, and dates back to the writings of ancient Egypt. Garlic was the only defense against vampires because the only remedy available against viral diseases was garlic. The anti-inflammatory, antiviral and antibacterial properties of garlic is well-known fact today. A wreath of garlic around the neck or in the house is a primitive aerosol therapy and prevention of the spread of viral diseases by air. That is the reason why garlic protects against vampire/Dracula. It protects against cold or flu or pneumonia. So, the bite of a vampire or Dracula is an ancient diagnosis of symptoms for viral diseases, cold or flu or pneumonia. Given through the story that ignorant, illiterate villagers and peasants remembered that consuming garlic is the only cure for these diseases. The real being of the vampire has never been and never will be. Werewolf. Now that it is clear that our ancestors did not encounter immortal beings of superhuman abilities, but personified disease or diagnosis for easier remembering and oral data transmission, the notion of werewolves will be easier to understand. After a wolf attack, or some other forest, beast or accident, the open wound would become infected and fester. These festering wounds with the cries of pain and agony of the victim, ill person, seemed to our ancestors as if man were transformed into a monster, half man, half wolf. The only thing that could have prevented human to turn into werewolf, that is putrefaction and fester of open wounds, was to treat the wound with silver. That's why silver kills werewolves. Legend of werewolf is about the treatment of open wounds, and the prevention of putrefaction and infection, the treatment of purulent ulcers, and the similar diseases. The antibacterial and antiseptic effects of silver nanoparticles and silver ions are a well-known fact. The success of the treatment was probably not high, but it was the best option they had then. The werewolf never existed and will never exist. Wizards and witches. At a lower level of consciousness, the Lord also incarnates in these two different ways that the ancestors described as a wizard or witch. Wizards are the incarnations of the Lord in a male body with a dominant female energy. These are men who use the innate, male power of one-point focusing to channel and direct extremely strong intuition and feelings of their female side. They use it to manifest and control people and events. The female side is symbolized by the robes. The knowledge of cognition and the concentration of the mind are symbolized by the pointed hat. The stick with the ornament on the top symbolizes the spine with the pineal gland, the source of the real power of manifestation. Witch. At the same level of consciousness, the Lord also incarnates the female body with the dominant male energy, a witch. These are women who control their innate intuition and feelings with the focused and logical mind of a male. Like wizards, they use it to manifest and control people and events. They do not fly on a broom, but the broom represents the male side of the witch, that is, the pen *s. A pointed hat represents knowledge of cognition and concentration of the mind, and a magic wand, a spine with a pineal gland. There is no male witch or female wizard. It is nonsense like saying that there is a female father and a male mother. If he is a man, then he is a father or a wizard. If she is a woman, then she is a mother or a witch. Male-female energies are mixed in this way through 7 basic levels of consciousness, starting from the physical manifested in homosexuality, transvestism. Follows rituals, herbalism, subconscious action, all the way to the stated highest level of manifestation, manipulation. Because of too strong an identification with the body and ego of the mind, which is a robbery of the Lord returns such incarnations to nothingness. Basically, thanks to the Lord/consciousness, everyone is a wizard or witch. In the infinity of creation, each ego lives the illusion of manifestation by doing the rituals. From the ritual of denial of the spiritual/God, that is illusion of atheism, via a ritual of heavy work and learning for illusion of secular materialism, to the ritual of conscious manifestation using the mind and human will, with or without helping aids, that is the illusion that man is a creator. In general, all are wizards and witches. But the terms primarily relate to incarnations in which male/female energy and the skills for spiritual are more visible and expressed. The living dead. Our ancestors described the past as something that is dead. Something that it was, there is a memory about it. But now it is no more. Just as a person who has died, the past was dead to them. Wise have noticed that every thought that arises in the human mind, even thoughts and plans about the future, it is created on the basis of past events, memories, that is, dead things. Since thinking takes away a person's awareness of the present moment, and the present moment is the only moment when life is lived, the sages' thinking also called living in the grave or cemetery. That is why people obsessed with thinking, lost in the imagination, thoughts of planning, and so on, were perceived as living dead. Modern word for living dead is overthinker.